Okay, I think we are definitely live now. What in the world was going on before? We are getting ready for football. As we get set for the Chiefs and the Lions. What's going on before? We are getting ready for football. Okay, we are live. So if you want to drop a message in the chat, I'm sporting my Framingham State Rams as they open tonight at Salve, Virginia, Division III school in Massachusetts, in case you're wondering. Also one of the broadcasters for the Worcester Red Sox baseball team. So good to have you here and watching Week 1 DraftKings and FanDuel plays. I also, as you see in the subject, I got some betting advice, quick betting advice, quick showdown advice. For betting advice, I don't do parlays. I do, I try to do one thing. I've done some, and then you quickly learn that you're not going to win a lot of those. So I can show you, I'm really letting people all into my stuff. My betting sheet. This is what I use. These are the 5 sites I bet. That's my total winnings. You see, I've done pretty good. You know, I've had some pretty good things here. I've won. Actually, it's 883. I threw 100 tonight on the Chiefs money line. Now, I did do some single game parlays, but I try to stick with money lines. You know why? One thing to get right. I don't want to have to try to get 3 to 4. Yes, it pays more. And have I done that? Yep. Look at this. Hayes Verdugo home run, 570. I won 456. And then, as you can see, I tried doing that again. Lost. Yeah, and I did Nuggets hit a 3. These are early. This is when they did those giveaway things. But 3-pick parlay, 19-pick parlay, 6-pick. Look at this, nothing. 2-pick parlay. I did some, 3. I picked out favorites, but I stick with money lines. That's kind of what I've been doing. As you look at. Tried that home run, 0-0-0. Look, I didn't hit any of those home runs props. So money lines is where I go. Mainly do DraftKings, FanDuel. Got some stuff on Win. I categorize all of my DFS winnings. I suggest you do this too. I put all the Vegas lines in here. I try to target games, home favorites. For cash games, for anything. Close games are pretty good in tournaments. And then I track all my winnings. I updated. This is this year's, which we haven't had any. Quick things on showdowns. I don't love showdowns. I struggle with showdowns. But here's what I think you should do when you play a showdown. If you knew the score of the game, would it alter how you played it? The answer is yes. If I told you that I could look into the future and tell you that tonight's Chief game was 34-10 Chiefs, would it change your mind on playing their defense? I would think. Because with 34-10, maybe you have an interception return, maybe you have a special teams return. I like Kansas City's defense in this game tonight because it's close, which I think plays into a pick 6, but I like a Sky Moore Kansas City stack. But what I think you have to do, you have to go with what you think the game's going to end up. You have to in your mind say you have to take a stance. So what happens is I think we try to get too cute. I want to play all these guys, but if you knew the score, if you really think the Lions have a chance to win this game by 7 points, Would David Montgomery be a good MVP? Not in DraftKings where you get point. I would, this is what I would probably do. If you think you like the Lions, even their defense, and maybe go with either Gibbs or Montgomery. I'd probably go with Gibbs. And then maybe you don't play Mahomes. Looks like Kelsey will be out. Pacheco and something like that. But I think what you really have to predict the game. And I'm only doing a 10-cent, just something small tonight. All right. Let's get to week 1 on DraftKings. And I'll show you a little bit about what I do. I play about 5% of my bankroll. You can see what my bankroll is. It's not bad. All right, so I'm going to play about 5% of that. $50. I do believe in the 80-20 strategy of cash games to GPPs. I know a lot of people don't. That's fine. I'm just telling you what I do. Also, I'm not saying that I'm always looking for an advantage, but one thing that you can track through all of this, and you can go and Google, Roto Grinders has results from previous weeks. The bigger the contest, let's start with tournaments. Bigger the contest, the higher the scores. Because that's where you try to be more obscure and you're playing the low-owned guys. So, for instance, I use Fantasy Labs. If you're playing in some big GPPs, I do have an account, by the way. Oh, no. I think this is my password. Okay, I got my password. So, I do have, I don't know why it's doing this. I do have an account. I just used this today. Okay. So, for GPPs, for big ones, you don't want to play like, you don't always want to play the chalkiest quarterbacks. You can see the ownership is pretty spread out. So, a Tua, the millionaire tournament sometimes is a stack that's underowned. You want to do, I think, quarterback, 2 receivers, run it back, because you want to get your lineup fill where you're not making a ton of choices. So if you do 4 players from one game, then you can do another stack with another game. Like say you do a Herbert. We'll just do this for now. This isn't going to be gospel. Even Eckler, run it back with Hill, and then you do a second game stack. That's what for big tournaments, that's kind of what you do. So what I like to do, my $20 worth, I'm going to take it down to $5. Total prizes. We want to, but look how many people are already in this. 451,000. And to cash, just to win $3, look where you have to finish. Now it's doable. And again, it depends on the level of play. But my philosophy is I don't want to have to beat a lot of people. So I'm looking at single entry, smaller contest. Make sure you get here to classic. And I'm going to look at, the 20 max I'd stay away from. I do 3 max here. 23,000 still a lot, but I might, if you play high dollar total, look at this, 23.78. So it's a GPP, pays 26% of the field, which you should get this So I like to stick to contests where you don't have to beat many people. Then you don't have to get as crazy in your lineups. You could maybe single stack. You could put your cash game on this. But I like to play smaller field contests. My 50-50s. I don't play 100-man tournaments anymore. You know why? I found there'll be... And also, it doesn't hurt to look who's in these contests. So that the more of these, the more filled up the badges are, the more experience. The ones without badges, these are brand new players. But I will play in these fields. You know why? I have to beat 5 people in my 50-50s. And you're saying it's still 50% in 100. It is. But here's the problem in 100. I've noticed in 100-man tournaments that you're going to have a slew of duplicate lineups. There was a 100-man 50-50 last year where I swear there was 36 of the same lineups. In the 10-man leagues, maybe... I remember weeks and weeks where there wasn't one duplicate lineup. Now, there can be some higher... People will put in GPP lineups in those, but I would rather take my chances in beating 5. When you have 36 multiple lineups, 36 of the same lineups, and I've noticed a lot of times those lineups are good and they cash, you're screwed. So I stay away from those. So I'll play $40 in a lot of 50-50s. I'll do some triple ups. I'll do some quintuple ups. I will do some head-to-heads. I'll try to play people who are not as skilled as me. And single entry players, like this guy. Like Shawners. People who are playing 50 times are probably pretty good. But if you want to throw in, you should. Then I will do some 3 to 5 man leagues. What the heck is this? No, I'll do some of these for cash games. Where I only have to beat 2 people. Now this only pays 1 person, but some of these 5 player ones pays out 2. You only have to beat 3 people. So stick to that. That's what I found success for me. All right, so this can apply, and this applies to FanDuel too. All right. And I don't get into a lot of multi-entry. You know, I might do some optimizer stuff, but if I do, it's these 5 cents. But I haven't done any. I maybe did 1 or 2 last year. So here's what I'm looking for when we get into building cash game lineups. All right. I start here. Always. And what you want for cash game lineups is volume. You want volume. In DraftKings, you want running backs that catch passes as well. So, it doesn't always have to be, but you want running backs in good situations. So when we come out here, like what I look for in running backs, I'm looking at home favorites and high point total. Now, Baltimore sticks right out. They're one of the highest favorites. Personally, I don't like their running back situation for this, where they... Now, Dobbins is going to get a lot of the, he could be a really good play. I might stick to him as a GPP player. I just want guys that I think that I can trust. Eckler's a guy I can trust. Chubb. There's a lot of guys here you can trust. McCaffrey, if you can fit him in. There's the whole thing about stuffing him in. You're going to get a lot of volume here, and then maybe and I always play 3 running backs in cash games. maybe even if you went down to he's going to play exclusively and their home favorites. You know, jam them in, pick your defense. I go cheap. I go with a favorite, Washington at home against Arizona. That's the one I like. I tend to pay down a quarterback because I think in cash games, you need about 2.5 times per salary. And there's a lot of guys here that are going to produce that. You know, I really don't hate any of this. If you went down here with Jordan Love. But for me, I want to be a little safer. I would look at someone maybe like either Russell Wilson or him at home. I pay down a tight end. Again, you're looking for targets. Who is someone that might get a lot of targets this week? Denver. And then you can just build around for receivers. You want targets, guys trailing. But again, I would start always with running backs. And if you have fantasy labs, you can set your thing here. I set these trends. My trends is I set these. Bargain, floor, you go all the way over here. The spread is 1, but I like the favorites. So guys like Eckler, Jamal Williams, Pirine at home, implied total of 24 points. That's pretty good. Mixon. And then receivers, I do kind of like to find someone cheap. And look at Atwell. At 3,000. If you can get a minimum salary guy in there that you think is going to have some targets, do it. Slot receivers are good for cash games. That's really what you want. But my strategy with cash games is 3 running backs, pay down a quarterback, pay down a defense, pay down a tight end, and then you're looking here. There's so many options, especially week 1. You want who you think's going to be their target cheerleader. And those guys tend to be priced. Drake London's a great guy. He's going to get, you look last year, targets. This guy's a target machine. 5,400. So sometimes at receiver, it doesn't have to be pretty. Guys like London, Deontay Johnson, Olave, those, Pittman, guys that are going to get targets. Now with GPPs, if you're playing in large fields, you want to do double stack. Like if you see optimized by ceiling, now this, okay, it's letting me by ceiling. So guys like Tyreek Hill, this isn't a great example here, but you want ceiling players in GPPs. Now, smaller GPPs, do you have to stack? You don't always have to do double stack. It just depends what you think. I kind of like a Lamar and Mark Andrews stack. And on GPPs, I try to do a receiver in the flex. Let's see what it comes up with. That's not bad. You want low ownership too for GPPs. You could see Jamal Williams might not be a good GPP play. And sometimes, here's another thing you might want to do for GPPs. If you see a guy high owned at 5,100, like Williams, go to someone like him in GPPs. All right? So my strategy on FanDuel changes a little bit because it's half-point PPR, and the quarterbacks are priced differently You know, like if you look at the most expensive is Jalen Hurts, but you go down in where is, like, look at Deshaun Watson, 7,400. I don't mind paying up a little bit because this is more of a touchdowns. So I still think on here, you know, guys like these two could be not as valuable. So I like guys that are more one-dimensional, like a Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, Najee Harris. I like kind of touchdown upside. I don't mind paying up a quarterback, so I think the strategy is a little different. All right? Hope you guys win a lot of money. Subscribe, please. It really helps the channel. And let me know what I can do to help. Thank you for watching.